Cool. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. We stay. Cool. So, Daniel, let's start with you. Obviously, it's been a fantastic season so far. 3 race wins, running 3rd in the World Championship. How's it gone from your perspective, and did you expect this kind of success going into the season?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, it's been a good season, really. Honestly, it keeps turning. I can't. I can't complain. I can't complain. No, I hoped it would go this well. I feel so awkward. There we go. All right. I hoped it would go this well, but no, I think it's gone a bit better than I expected. And obviously, yeah, Mercedes were out of reach this year, but to finish 3rd, I think is a good. Yeah, I can't complain with that. It's been fun. I know that, and I know when you're enjoying something, it's much easier to succeed doing it. So yeah, I think that's been key, and I've obviously really enjoyed working with the team this year. My first year with them, so it's been a good 12 months.
Great. So obviously you've been driving the Infiniti Q50 today, this morning, and also later on this afternoon. What kind of the same kind of principles driving a road car as an F1 car, or any kind of shared guidelines in terms of driving both cars?
I think definitely there's some similarities. In terms of lines, approach to a corner. It's all very similar. It's obviously a bit sped up in a Formula 1 car, but the principle's still there. Days like this, of course, you have a bit of fun as well. So you may be a bit more sideways in the Infiniti than we are in the F1 car, but that's just us trying to scare the passengers. But no, generally it's same principle, and yeah, it's good fun actually. We managed to, as I said, scare a few people, and for a good reason.
Sebastian, current world champion. Obviously, it's been had some great few races this year, but it's been a tougher year than previous seasons. How's it gone from your perspective?
Well, obviously not the way I was looking forward to at the beginning of the season. We had a lot of problems with the car as well, but overall has been a tough season. Trying to find the rhythm. I think Daniel got along quite a bit sooner than I did with the car. So I think overall has been a strong year for the team. If you look where we started after winter testing, we didn't look in very good shape, and coming to the last race, knowing that we are 2nd in the constructors, right behind Mercedes, and also knowing that the gap probably to them was too big, I think is a very good achievement. And for me, obviously this weekend, I'm trying to finish 4th in the drivers, right behind Daniel.
Now, away from racing, you've obviously been involved with Infiniti and the development of some of their road cars, particularly the Q50 and the Q50 Eau Rouge as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role with Infiniti?
Yeah, obviously, it has been a couple of years now, the relationship, I think, since 2011, where we started, and since then we had a couple of projects. We had an FX at the time that we had slightly adjusted, let's say. Q50 was a different step because we more or less started from scratch. And yeah, it was interesting to test the car in various stages, working on mostly the handling, because the design is not up to me. I think that would have been more something for Adrian probably, but working on the handling, such as brakes, steering. I don't know who drove the car yet, but the steering is quite innovative. So with the drive-by wire, it feels different, but overall I think it's a great car, and it does the job. So it was, as I said, interesting to be involved at more or less every stage. Obviously the big difference between Formula 1 and road cars is that the road cars things take a lot more time, so it's easily stretches over a couple of years to finish a project like that.
Great. Okay, well I think we've got a few minutes for you guys to ask Sebastian and Daniel a few questions. So do we have any questions in the audience? I think we've got a microphone roaming around somewhere as well.
I'm Green from Sport 360, it's a local newspaper. My question is for Sebastian. This is going to be your last race with Red Bull, so do you think it's going to be a bit of an emotional weekend for you? What kind of mindset are you in heading into the race weekend?
Well, the mindset I think is fairly, straightforward. It feels very much like every other race. Meaning in terms of preparation, things we go through. It has been very, very similar, but obviously I know that will be the last race for the team. Yeah, I think difficult to describe. I think Sunday will be very emotional, but obviously I'll try to, first of all do my job, do the best race I can. But after such a long time with the team, after everything we've achieved together, yeah, it's definitely a big step for me. I'm looking forward to my future, but surely looking back, it has been a very good relationship, and there's a lot of people that I will miss.
Sebastian, do you think Ferrari is the right choice at the right time?
Well, I think officially I'm not allowed yet to announce where my way is going, but I don't think it's a big mystery at this stage, to be honest. So yeah, I hope that I can make an announcement very soon and answer these kind of questions as well.
Hi, I'm Hassan from YellowMotor.com. This is a bit of a non-F1 question. How's your experience on the Abu Dhabi F1 circuit, and how does it compare with the other F1 circuits? In your opinion, what are the unique aspects of this circuit?
Both of us? Yeah. Okay. I think I have some good memories around here. It was really the second time I got to drive a Formula One car. I did the young driver test, and so some pretty good memories. Early days. I think what I particularly like is the last sector. For me, it's a bit more. Yeah, it's a bit more tight and twisty, but it's has some similarities to a street circuit in it. You sort of use a bit more curbs and jump around a bit more, and the barriers are a little bit closer. Some of the other parts on the track are very open, let's say very modern in terms of circuit design and build, but the last sector is a bit more old school in some respects. So that I enjoy. I think it's got a bit of everything as well. So it's got first sector's quite fast flowing, which we have on a few circuits on the calendar, and second sector is mainly straights. Honestly, not much to it. I think that provides passing opportunities, but as a driver, there's not much going on in the second sector. But then as last sector, I said it's a bit busier, which is cool.
Hi. Sorry. I would love to hear both of your drivers' perspective on my question. As we've seen, the F1 regulations have been evolving for the last couple of years. What's your opinion on where the F1 regulations are headed, with the engine and the aerodynamics and whatnot? I'd love your perspective on that.
Well, I think Formula One has always come up with new technologies. Obviously, the regulation we have since this year, I think for one, it's a shame to lose the sound, which I think the fans are missing. For us, I think inside the car is nicer because it's a bit more quiet. But yeah, I think cars are fun to drive. Obviously, things have changed, the regulations have changed, and therefore there's different tools you play with, and you have to adapt. I think yeah, that's most of it from our side. I think obviously we always want to go faster. So for a start, obviously it was a bit of a reset, and for sure at the beginning we are slower with the current regulations than we've been with once before. But over the next couple of years, probably we'll learn with the cars in terms of development, and also with the engines, and we will only get quicker. So there's something to look forward to. Other than that, I think the only problem is that it's probably a bit too expensive at this stage. But yeah, I think from our side, as I said, I think that's more or less.
Bernie was also concerned about declining viewership. I think he expressed it in the media with the latest regulations. What do you guys think about that?
I think the only thing less attractive about Formula One this year is the sound. Other than that, I think there's a lot of positives from it. At least from a viewer's point of view, and I know being inside the car, if we take the sound away from it, the races have been, in my opinion, a lot more exciting. I think there's been a lot of overtaking this year. We're able to, stay fairly close to the car in front, and not lose too much downforce behind them. So I think for for racing and excitement, it's been from my memory, one of the better years. That's for sure. So that's definitely a good thing. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's still, when we go to the races, there's still little kids, with Formula One merchandise, and there's the elderly people as well. So we still see a variety of ages, and obviously that's important for us. So yeah, I think it's in a good place. It's always gonna, you can always improve a few things, but I think we're more or less there.
All right, thank you very much.
On the topic of your shifting to another manufacturer, what's your hopes for the car for next year? Do you think the car will peak along with you?
Well, I think
You hope it's not too quick. You don't want it to be too fast, do you?
He does.
Well, yeah, I think for anyone, but probably Mercedes, it will be difficult to catch up, but because the gap is so big. So I think everyone but Mercedes has a lot of work over winter trying to close the gap. I think it would be a surprise if any team can actually close the gap because it's so big at this stage. But hopefully we see that people are a lot more closer, and hopefully I can be a lot more closer to to the front runners again.
Thank you.
Daniel, last year I spoke to you and you were with Toro Rosso here, and you'd already known that you were going to Red Bull. How much has your life changed in this year, considering you got these race wins and you're really close to the top? Just how's life changed for you?
It's obviously some good things. Things have changed for the better, but in saying that, I can't really be specific or pinpoint something which I feel like the same person. Obviously, my results on track have made me even happier, I guess. But I bit more cash, I guess. I don't know. Still not enough, but no. It's, in general, I don't feel different. I mean, let's say, obviously, I've got a bit more of a following now, a few more fans from through my results, but I don't feel like I'm a celebrity or anything like that. So I think day-to-day life is still the same. Obviously, it's just a nice thing being able to race at the front. Obviously, a bit more in the spotlight, but that's what comes with the success. And obviously, the success on track's what I want. So you have to deal with maybe being recognised a little bit more, but it hasn't gone out of control, not by any means.
When you're entering a team that has a 4-time world champion, it must be maybe a little bit intimidating. Did you surprise yourself that you could actually do a bit better?
I mean, well, it's a tough one, but definitely I knew coming into the season that I would have, my work cut out for me, so to speak. I wasn't expecting to come in and start beating Seb from the early days. I knew it would take me a while, and not only that, but even just establishing relationships with the team. And obviously Seb was, knew the guys very well, so I knew just to understand the people I was working with would take a bit of time, and sometimes that can also relate to what's happening on track, performance, how you're getting on with your engineers and stuff like that. But I think I was really fortunate. The people I was set up to work with made life easy for me. I think the biggest thing which allowed me to, let's say, get up to speed quickly was I didn't really have the pressure. Red Bull didn't put the pressure on me, saying, okay, we want to see you by Melbourne, qualifying within a 10th of Seb, or they didn't set targets like this. They just knew if I was able to get into it and build up the way I wanted, then that's the way I would hopefully get the results. And I think that's what worked in the end. So yeah, obviously it's been satisfying. Obviously getting the results I've had. But, definitely the people around me have helped make that life, or made that transition easier.
Anybody not in the front row that has a question?
Front row has a question. And this is just for my personal satisfaction. Basically, I want to, how intense is it driving an F1 car? I was talking to David in the Coulthard earlier today, and he said today he would not be able to drive one. What would you compare it to? falling off a mountain, drowning in the deep depths of, I mean, how physically
Have you fallen off a mountain?
I've never felt that. You can't. The thing is, you can't really compare. I mean, you can buy yourself, a very fancy sports car, high performance car, but it doesn't really give the same sensation. If you're really interested in car, you go to Abu Dhabi, make sure the car for here, and I think they have a two-seater there. I think it's the closest that you can get somebody professional will take you around and give you a good impression. I think what really surprises people when they do that is the forces, how quickly you go through the corners, how your body reacts to that. When you hit the brakes as well, just the ability to hold your head upright. Small things like that, and obviously you can imagine for us it's extreme fun. Starting off from go-karting and then obviously progressing, always getting a bit quicker. It's always the toys we play with always get a little bit bigger, more powerful. So that's what we enjoy. And obviously Formula One is the pinnacle. So it's the best toy to play with from our point of view.
I can imagine, because I look at a track like Singapore and it's corner to corner, edge to edge, and you don't get any reprieve on the straight line. It must take a toll on you physically.
Yeah, I think that's also the reason why we obviously prepare the whole year, trying to maintain the level of fitness we have. With the calendar, it's obviously not easy. A lot of traveling, different time zones. But yes, I think you have to be fitter than what average people imagine of driving a Formula One car, because it's not like driving your car to the car park to go shopping. It's not the same.
Yeah, my wife
We've got time just for one more question there.
Second row stepped up.
Just my question to Sebastian. On a personal level, which car do you prefer to drive? Is the normally aspirated or turbo, upon experience?
Sorry, I didn't get which car do you prefer?
Normally aspirated or with turbo? Now this year is with turbo.
Well, I think obviously the drivability of the turbo in the past was always the big issue. This year, I think with the technology also involved, it's not like a classical, doesn't behave like a classic turbo. You don't have a lag. Obviously, from a drivability point of view, I think there's more torque with lower revs, which is, once the turbo kicks in, which is was pretty normal. But I think they managed pretty well, and we've made good progress. Where we started, drivability was a big issue. Now I think it's more or less okay with the grip we have available and the power that we have. So obviously, I don't hope that Daniel has a lot more power next year. But, generally speaking, we lack power compared to Mercedes. So I think it would be good news if we struggle with both of us. If we struggle next year with drivability, because it means that we've got more power.
Great, thanks very much, guys. We know you're very busy, so a packed afternoon. I'm sure all of us will wish you every success for this weekend, and thanks very much.
Yes, thanks.